So this is very interesting. I teased this earlier in the show. Donald Trump's daughter-in-law, Lara Trump, was interviewed on Fox News this week, and she was actually asked about the health concerns surrounding Donald Trump after his completely outrageous behavior during the West Point commencement speech that he gave over the weekend. Now, I want to be crystal clear. What's important about this is not so much what Lara Trump says. Obviously, Lara Trump says Trump's fine. Right. That's not surprising. We wouldn't expect her to say anything other than that. What matters here is that the story actually made it onto Fox News back in 2016. In all of those bogus Hillary Clinton has Parkinson's type stories, Hillary's unhealthy, Hillary's dying stuff. Even now, stories about Joe Biden, and we see Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity sort of allude to Joe Biden's cognitive state. We have not seen any mentions of Donald Trump's obviously odd behavior that could be related to health. We already discussed on the Monday show Trump struggling to drink a glass of water and, sort of having to use his left hand to help himself drink water at West Point. We saw the video of Trump almost being helped down a ramp by a military officer looking incredibly ginger and unstable and frail. Raised a whole new host of questions about Trump's health. So here is Fox anchor Martha McCallum actually asking Lara Trump about health concerns. Take a look.
The hubbub over this.
Well, I think it's sort of sad that nobody focused on what the president actually said at his address there at West Point. It was such a message of unity and togetherness and strength of America and how proud he was of all of those graduates there.
It was beautiful. I listened to the whole thing.
Yeah, it was so nice. Instead, people, Martha, of course, focus on the way he walks down a ramp. This was a ramp that was, had no steps, no handrail. The president had on leather shoes. Of course, he's going to take his time and go down and make sure that
nobody wants to fall down in front of cameras. No, I get it. But just to ask you, straight out, is there anything about the president's health that the American public doesn't know?
No. Absolutely not. It's just fodder for the critics out there to attack him.
So, of course, it's not surprising that Lara Trump says everything's completely fine and there's nothing to see here about Donald Trump's health. That's not really why I'm talking about this. The point is the fact that this was even on Fox News is huge because it means that the issue of Trump's health is now on the radar of some of these right-wing Trump sycophants who primarily get their news from Fox News and wouldn't ordinarily hear about this story. So understand that were it not for segments like this, there's a huge portion of the country that wouldn't even know anything about Donald Trump's confused speech and limited reading ability, visible confusion, the often dilated pupils while sweating, his strange stance, and all of these other signs that have been topics of concern around the country for years at this point in time. So I'm not really praising Fox News in any kind of broader way, but it's a good thing that the story actually made it on the air because this is likely the first time that a ton of Trumpist Fox News watchers are even hearing about the fact that there are health questions surrounding Donald Trump. Now, also, just kind of in the vein of fact checking, remember that initially Donald Trump explained the reason that he walked down the ramp so slowly and gingerly was that the ramp was slippery. Donald Trump tweeted over the weekend, quote, "The ramp that I descended after my West Point commencement speech was very long and steep, had no handrail, and most importantly, was very slippery. The last thing I was going to do is fall for the fake news to have fun with. Final 10 feet, I ran down to level ground, momentum." So that was quickly identified as bogus because people just looked at weather reports and video of the event. It had been completely dry and sunny all day, so the ramp was not slippery. Notice that now there's a new explanation from Lara Trump, which is that there was no handrail and there were no steps and that Trump was wearing leather shoes. The no steps thing is extra funny because by definition, ramps don't have steps. It's like, well, he would have gone down the ramp faster if it had steps. Well, then it wouldn't be a ramp, would it? It would be stairs. So ultimately, what do we make of the ramp incident? I don't know. Here's a side-by-side video for our television audience of Joe Biden and Donald Trump both walking on ramps. The level of mobility is clearly very different. Does this mean anything other than Trump is getting older? Maybe not. The point is, we don't know. It could be a sign of a stroke. It could be a sign of really anything. We just don't know. And importantly, none of this is anything to make fun of. Donald Trump is 74 years old. He's obese. It's not shocking that he would have some mobility issues, but the point is the constant dishonesty and attacking others, never answering questions straight up, and increasingly deceptive feeling statements and actions when it comes to his health, which we'll talk about later, including the completely bogus thing from 2019. Remember, where he was rushed to Walter Reed Medical Center and we were told, you know what, he just had a few free hours. He decided to get a jump on that 2020 physical. It wasn't believable. And now even some Republican groups are making this a focus. Let's talk about that next.